Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Dan Hiscock, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Lee Stanway. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge Dr. Khaled El-Anani, candidate for Director General of UNESCO, and His Excellency Ambassador Hani Nagy, Embassy of the Arab Republic of Egypt, accompanied by Mr. Brendan Smith, Commissioner for International Engagement, and Lieutenant General Stephen Boyven, Chief of Joint Operations Canada, accompanied by Vice Admiral Justin Jones, Chief of Joint Operations Australia, and their accompanying delegations. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Service Clubs Association, and we welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Maldon Primary School visiting from Maldon in the Northern Territory. Now, if you're able, I invite you to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Captain John Halpin. John Halpin was born in Goulburn, New South Wales on the 26th of May 1890, the eldest son of locomotive driver Frank Halpin and his wife Margaret. From an early age, Halpin took a keen interest in the military. By the outbreak of the First World War, he had already been a commissioned member of the Australian Military Forces for 2 years, working as instructional staff for the part-time militia. Initially rejected for not meeting the required chest measurement, Halpin was later accepted for service in the 1st Australian Imperial Force on the 26th of March 1917. Entering service as a sergeant, Halpin attended the Imperial School of Instruction in the United Kingdom before being taken on strength of the 12th Light Horse Regiment in Palestine in March 1918. Sergeant Halpin joined the regiment in time to participate in the raid of Al-Salt, a village in Transjordan west of Amman. Heavy fighting took place here in late April and early May 1918. As part of the second raid mounted east of the Jordan River by General Sir Edmund Allenby's Egyptian Expeditionary Force. The actual raiding troops, commanded by Lieutenant General Sir Harry Cheval, were instructed to secure a launching point for operations against the railway junction at Dira. The operation progressed well until Turkish resistance forced the Australians to withdraw. Sergeant Halpin's comrades believed that he had been killed at Al-Salt in May 1918 and left him as they withdrew. However, he had actually been knocked unconscious after falling from his horse. When he regained consciousness, his identification tags had been removed and he was alone, in direct sight of a Turkish patrol. Officially reported as being killed in action, Halpin was now a prisoner of war, and he and the other prisoners were marched from Palestine to Constantinople, suffering more from neglect than deliberate ill treatment. Food was poor, medical care primitive, and the men experienced a casual brutality that led to many prisoners dying. Halpin and his group of prisoners were also bombed by the Allied Air Force, which killed 2 prisoners. Halpin survived this experience and arrived in Egypt after the signing of the armistice in November. During the war, his brother Thomas had also died during fighting at Pozières. In Australia, Halpin worked as a teacher. He became renowned for his ability as a Highland piper and formed a pipe band in Goulburn. After marrying Hilda Edwards in February 1920 in Sydney, he lived in the suburb of Willoughby. He also wrote a book about his wartime experiences. Blood in the Mist was published in 1934. With the coming of the Second World War, 49-year-old John Halpin enlisted in the Australian Military Forces on the 10th of May 1940. Taken on strength as a lieutenant, he was soon promoted to captain. In September, he was posted for duty with an infantry training battalion. Halpin would not serve for long in this capacity, however. On the 22nd of October, he was sent home on sick leave. His condition deteriorated, and on the 12th of November, he was admitted to the Prince of Wales Hospital at Randwick, suffering from toxic myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle, often a result of drugs used in medical treatment. John Halpin died of his illness on the 10th of May 1941 at the age of 50. Today, his remains lie buried in the Macquarie Park Cemetery and Crematorium in Ryde in Sydney. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Captain John Halpin, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We'll leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, the staff and the volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. Wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.